Hey guys, it's Chris here. I've been working out of a new area doing a contract for another seller, so this is a new area. I haven't shot a video here yet, and this is my first one. And I kind of like it. It's actually pretty warm for how cold it is outside. It's like 50 degrees in here. I got my light hoodie on and actually pretty toasty after doing a lot of work. But enough about the room I'm in. It doesn't really matter that much. I want to talk to you guys about something that will definitely happen to you on Amazon probably pretty quickly. You've probably heard this term and you might not know exactly what it is, and that is a price tank. So price tanking on Amazon is when something is selling at what people perceive to be a price. Let's say, it's at 20 bucks or something like that. And then all of a sudden somebody comes in and they sell it for $9. Okay, that is a prime example of a price tank. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to talk to you guys about why this happens, from both mistakenly making it happen, so kind of beginner mistakes, but I also know professionals that do those mistakes also. And then I'm actually going to talk to you about some strategies for price tanking where you might actually want to do it yourself. See, when I first got started, I could not fathom why people would sell stuff for less than the most amount of money they could get. And then I, sold a lot of stuff on Amazon, and now I'm like, yeah, I price tank all the time. In fact, that's true. I drop the prices on things all the time. I'm the person that gets messages from other sellers. Hey, why'd you lower the price on that? I've even gotten negative feedback about it. So, do you see how upset I am and how much I care about that? Because I don't. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you guys how to effectively use price tanking as an effective strategy to make more money on Amazon, and what happens if you're selling something and the price tanks, and how you can, kind of correct it, some ways to think about it, and also how to avoid it from even happening in the first place. So watch along, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm really excited about the new year. I'm going to be dropping some new videos, and I'm really excited about them. So anyway, guys, let's get started. So a lot of times when you look at price tanking, when you look at people that come in on a listing and they drop the price a lot, you will notice that there's a lot of just launches, or there's a lot of people that don't have a lot of feedback. That happens. So these are going to be kind of some beginner mistakes and targeted towards, younger sellers, people that haven't been doing this long. So the first thing that I see, that causes people to do price tanking is not understanding the difference between shipping and not shipping. So let me explain this. Let's say an item is $15 on Amazon with $5 shipping. Well, effectively the customer's going to pay 20 bucks. If you're an FBA seller, personally for me, I would come in at like $20.50. That's actually higher than the buy box price. And I would see, do I get sales at that higher price? Now I might not, or I might. If I don't, I'm going to lower it a little bit down and everything. But see, the thing is some beginners don't realize that there might be a shipping cost with the item. So they, as FBA sellers, look at a listing that has merchant fulfilled sellers on it, and they match the merchant fulfilled sellers, not including the shipping. That's a big mistake, especially like on books and stuff or heavier items that might have a really expensive shipping cost. So what they will do is come in, same item where it's a $15 from a merchant fulfilled seller plus $5 shipping. They'll come in at $15 FBA. Well, you just tanked the price $5. So as a beginner seller, make sure when you're looking at the listings in the Amazon seller app, or you're looking and you're pricing stuff, make sure that you go through and include if there's shipping. It's real easy to see when you're looking at the other offers. Always check this. I always do. You always should too. So another big problem is people, frankly, you get overeager. There's so many people I see, they're like, I just want to get my first Amazon sale and the buy box is $20. I'm going to sell it for 18 bucks. Well, you don't need to do that, guys. You really don't. I have my repricer set. I use Seller Snap because somebody's going to ask me. Link in the description here. I use Seller Snap. I actually have mine set to price above the buy box. And clearly I sell stuff, so it works. It really, really does, guys. So you do not need to be the lowest price or even match the lowest price to get the buy box. That's very, very important. A lot of people for some reason think the buy box is always the lowest price, and it's just not. So a lot of people, they get overly emotional, maybe their stuff isn't selling as fast as they wanted, something like that, and they end up tanking the price. So the way to deal with that is actually to use a repricer. Now we're going to talk about repricer mistakes next, but if you use a repricer, you're going to remove a lot of the emotion out of the cost setting on Amazon, and that's really helpful. There's nothing worse than you have a bad day, you want to go and see those Amazon sales, and they're just not coming, so you tank the price, you get those sales, and you get that little burst of dopamine or whatever. That's great and all, but you just tank the price on a listing, and that's not good. Now, another tip for you, because we're going to talk about repricers next. If you're using Inventory Lab, go into your settings right now, and there's a setting in Inventory Lab. I'll put a screenshot in the video because I'm doing this and I don't have a computer in front of me. What it does is it increases the price of all of your items by a percentage when you add them to Amazon. So let's say I'm listing a $20 item. My Inventory Lab is always set to automatically add 25%. So when I scan it, it will go up in price to $25. Now that does sometimes give me a high pricing error. Those are very easy to fix. You just go into the inventory and fix your high pricing error. Very easy to do. But what that also does is when I ship something out, it could take 2 or 3 weeks for it to get live and get listed at Amazon. Well, in that 2 or 3 weeks, it could in theory go up in price. So if it goes up in price and I'm at the old price, I could again tank the listing and tank the price on the listing. So keep that in mind. It's a very easy thing to set up and will save you a whole bunch of money. Now, let's talk about repricers. This is a thing, again, going back, people think that you have to be the lowest on the listing, and you don't. I would recommend, no matter what repricer you're using, SellerSnap, BQL, GoAura, Profit Protector, whatever you're using, I would recommend trying pricing above the buy box or match the buy box. Personally, I always go above the buy box unless I'm liquidating inventory, which we're going to talk about next. So with that, you want to be like a penny or two above the buy box. It really will work. You really will get sales being a little bit more expensive, because what happens is the buy box doesn't actually update quite real time. So let's say you get the buy box, or let's say I get the buy box and you're a penny above me. Well, if I have 5 items in stock and I sell all 5 out, it's going to go to the next seller. Well, that would be you if you're only a little bit above me. Or it gives the buy box rotation based on the geographical location of the item and the customer. So if you're just a little bit more expensive, instead of Amazon shipping something from New Jersey to California, if your stuff is in California and the customer's in California, it's very likely that they're going to rotate the buy box to you, even if you're more expensive. There's so many ways that you'll get the buy box, even if you're just a little bit more expensive. So you don't need to be the cheapest person. You really, really don't, guys. So that's how you can avoid it as a beginner running into this. And what I will say this also is, if you're a beginner, you need to really make sure that you're checking Keepa, okay? This is a big thing. A lot of people, they go into listings that have no sales history, no sales rank, awful sales rank, and then they just get impatient and drop the price. Well, you just price tanked. But if you would have had fast selling items, you wouldn't have done that, because you would have had, the items that would give you the experience that you're looking for. So just something to keep in mind. If you're really concerned about price tanking, and you should be, we're going to talk here about how to avoid it. So there's a couple things that I look for when I'm looking at a Keepa chart of an item. I'm going to share screenshots of Keepa charts that show this. So I look for the number of sellers increasing drastically. So if something's like got 5 or 6 sellers, and then all of a sudden it's got 25, I'm going to assume that there's going to be a lot more sellers very quickly, and probably, unless it is an amazingly fast selling item, I don't want to list it. Now, I don't really look at the number of sellers too often. I have recently been looking at it more. I actually, for years, never paid any attention to it. But the price tanking on Amazon has really been really spectacular in not a good way lately. So I look for that. Is the price, going to tank? And that's a pretty effective way to tell. Now, another thing to keep in mind, not looking at Keepa, is are you buying this clearance? Now, you can use a tool like BrickSeek to see how many other Walmarts in this area, or actually in the whole chain, have an item for a certain price. So what that means is, let's say I'm at Walmart and I find a $20 item and it's on clearance for $5. Well, if I look it up in BrickSeek, I can actually see what percentage of Walmarts have it for that price. So it might be a freak item that for some reason is the cheapest in the whole country. I've found those items before, okay? Or it might not even be a good deal. But you can tell that with BrickSeek, and if you see, 95% of all the other Walmarts in the country have the same item for the same price, well, guess what? You're going to see a price tank so hard. So hard. So those items I avoid. I actually don't do a whole lot of clearance shopping anymore. Almost everything that I buy now is full price. Now, don't get me wrong, I do still like doing clearance shopping. It's kind of fun, guys. You know, I like going to Walmart and buying all the weird crap they have on sale. But just keep that in mind. If everybody has access to it and the price isn't that good to begin with, you're going to have a price tank real quick. Now, another thing to look at is what is the historical price of the item? So, again, pull up Keepa and look at the 90-day view. If you have an item that has consistently been $25 for, I don't know, years, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, it goes up to $45. If you're buying that for $20, and then somebody comes back in and lists it for $25, well, that's your fault. You should have known better, okay? If somebody comes in and brings the price back down to where it was, they didn't really tank the price, even though a lot of people would seem to think that they did. Looking at the historic pricing data is a great way to know whether or not price dips and price tanks happen on an item, because a lot of times when I see it happening currently and I look in the past, it's happened before. So, best indicator of future performance is past performance. Am I right, guys? To quote the great Dr. Phil. Now, if you do hypothetically find something and you're, holding it in your hand, you're at Walmart and the price you think is good, you're concerned that the price is going to tank, maybe the number of sellers is starting to go up, well, there is hope for it. Just either do one of two things. Make sure you prep and get that out as soon as possible. Get that out tomorrow. Prep it, get it listed, get it on its way to Amazon. Or you can hold it and wait out everybody. We'll talk about that later. Actually, I just said I would tell you 2 tips, and I'm telling you 3 tips. The other one is to merchant fulfill it. Okay, once you have the item in your hand, there's no reason you can't merchant fulfill it if the pricing on that makes sense. So, merchant fulfill it, you'll get it sold and listed right away. You might even be able to sell it and get your money for it before you even get home to ship it to the customer. So, those are really quick and easy ways to get in and out of inventory fast enough that price tanking probably isn't going to be a big deal for you.